Okay guys, we're back with another episode. This episode we're going to be talking about Andy Cruz recently winning his fight on the weekend against that Japanese guy. He now moves to 6-0 or 7-0 I think. He's the IBF International Lightweight Champion, and he's a boxer with some serious amateur pedigree. Was a 2020 Olympic gold medalist as well. Hundreds and hundreds of amateur fights. His amateur record won't do him justice because they never do. It's impossible to capture all those amateur fights he probably would have had in Cuba. But he's turned pro. He's 5 or 6-0 now. He's just won that fight against a Japanese guy, and everyone he's fought so far to date in his career, he's just beat them up. Like, it feels like everyone who he steps in the ring with at this level, he's just one step ahead of these guys. Or more than one step, like 2 or 3 steps. You know, none of these guys can even lace his boots. And Andy Cruz is a serious operator at the lightweight division. And following that win, he's now looking to move on to become the mandatory challenger for the IBF lightweight champion against, what's his name? The bloke is called Raymond Muratalla. Never heard of him, but he's a world champion in his own right, so got to respect that. But it's tough seeing anyone beat Andy Cruz because you've got another guy at the lightweight division, Keyshawn Davis, who's, you know, undefeated in his own right and running through everyone. Andy Cruz beat him in the Olympics. You know, everyone's talking about Keyshawn Davis, and I haven't made a video about Keyshawn Davis following his him missing weight and his fight getting cancelled and him having a bit of a villain arc. I haven't talked about that, but he's a top level boxer, 100%. And Andy Cruz has already beat him. That will be a super fight somewhere down the line. I imagine that will be a unification bout at some point in the lightweight division. I imagine that'll be quite a big money fight. But Andy Cruz, he's next up, bro. Like, from his first pro fight, he was fighting for the international title. That doesn't happen. That's unheard of. The only other person to do something similar to that is Lomachenko. And that goes to show how high esteem Andy Cruz is held, because for a guy who's only had 5 or 6 or 7 pro fights to already be in the conversations with the Lomachenkos goes to show how good of a boxer this guy is. He doesn't fight the same as Lomachenko. It's a different style. It's a more Cuban style. He's a Cuban boxer, obviously. And you know their style is very, it's very, how could I say? It is a defensive style, but there's pressure, there's movement, there's combinations, there's counter punching. It's a beautiful style to watch. Andy Cruz is a brilliant boxer to watch. Even when he was an amateur, I remember watching him as an amateur in the Olympics and thinking this is a very, very tricky style. He's still only young. I think he's only 28, and he's already going to be fighting for a world title probably this year. He'll be fighting for a world title at 28. If he can win that, you know, if he's a world champion by 29, he'll have a few years at the top, make a lot of money, retire, a very rich man, maybe even move up weight classes, win titles in more than one division. I don't know. He's a good enough boxer to do it. But yeah, Andy Cruz is next up. So keep your eyes out on him, man. And a huge win for him this past weekend against that Japanese guy. Put a real beating on him. Dropped him a couple times, I think. Or dropped him once and the referee stopped it the second time. And Andy Cruz, I don't even think Andy Cruz is necessarily a huge puncher. But it gets to a point when a guy is landing on you clean this often, like, stoppages are going to happen. They are going to start to rack up. But yeah, like I said, Andy Cruz is next up, and I'll probably make another video about him more in depth at some other point. But his next fight will be for a world title, and he'll probably win it, and it's going to be on to bigger and better things for Andy Cruz. So yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.